Hi, my name's Belinda and I'm the training lady, and today I'd like to show you a feature that appears in most of the Microsoft applications that I find a lot of users overlook. And it is really a good feature that provides you with a bit of improvement in your productivity and just provides a bit more ease of access for features that you use on a regular basis. Now, what I'm talking about here is what we call the Quick Access Toolbar. Now, you can find this in the top left-hand corner of most of the Microsoft apps. So in that, I'm talking about Excel, Word, PowerPoint, OneNote, Visio. They all have this. Microsoft Outlook Classic has this, and it's actually one of the reasons that I personally am still using Outlook Classic. Once that becomes a feature in the new Outlook, then I will certainly move over, but this is another reason I haven't moved just yet. But where you're going to find this is in the top left corner of each of the application windows. Now, what you'll usually find there is a couple of default buttons. You'll find things like the autosave, the original old school little save icon, and then you'll have your undo and your redo button. Now, the really nice thing about the Quick Access Toolbar is that it is on the screen all the time. So one thing that I find a lot of users have problems with is moving around and finding the buttons that they need. Now, you might often forget where a button is located. It happens to a lot of users. So what you can do is, rather than having to jump through these tabs, kind of looking for it every single time, you can have an extra copy of that button appear in the Quick Access Toolbar, and then that way it's really easy to get to and it's direct access. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to remove it from its normal location. You're still going to find it where it would normally be located, but it just gives you another access point for it. Now, there's lots of features in these programs that I would use on a regular basis that I just don't put up in the toolbar. And that's purely because if they have a keyboard shortcut equivalent, I don't worry about taking up space in my toolbar to actually have those displayed. I'll use the keyboard shortcut instead. But I want to show you how you can customize this, and I'm going to do this in Excel first, and then I'm going to move over to Outlook Classic and show you how to do it in there, because there's a little extra bonus that you get in Outlook as well. So first off, I have Excel open at the moment. You can see the default buttons are all there at the moment. Now, if I click to the right-hand side of the toolbar, there is a little drop-down arrow there. It is quite small, but if you click that, it's going to give you just the basic options of what you can add. So things like the email function, quick print. I really like having my two sorting buttons in here as well in Excel. There's no keyboard shortcut for those. So I'm going to go and click those, and you can see just by clicking them from the list, it adds the actual button up into the toolbar. Now, what about the hundreds of other features that you have in this particular program especially, but also the other apps? We want to be able to add those as well. So we're going to click the button on the right-hand side here, and what you'll see is that list, and we're going to go to the More Commands option. Now, what we don't want to do is move the actual toolbar. So you'll see there's an option to move the toolbar below the ribbon area, and if I show you what that looks like, you see it moves from this top left corner to now it's showing just below the ribbon area. You'll also notice it includes the labels rather than just the icons. Or I can go back in here and move it back to the top. And the other option is that you can completely hide the toolbar. And I have had some users come into training who don't have the toolbar. And what I found is that they've accidentally hidden it, and it is possible to go back in and reactivate it as well, which I will show you how to do. But we're going to go into More Commands. Now, where this has taken us now, and because we're in Excel, it's taking me to the Excel Options dialog box. Now, if I wanted to get here, essentially the longer route, I would go to my File tab up in the top left corner, and then in that menu where you normally have Save As and Print and all that sort of stuff in there, down the very bottom there is an Options setting, and if you click that Options, it actually brings you to this exact same window. So if you do happen to accidentally hide the Quick Access Toolbar, you'll see there's a little checkbox here, and I would just go to the File tab, I would go down to Options, and then I would come in here and re-enable the Show Quick Access Toolbar option. All right, so that's the quick way of getting it back. Now, what we've got on this window here is on the left-hand column here, we've got a list of, currently it's showing us all the popular commands. You can see there's a drop down here, and I can browse by all the different locations in the ribbon. So the Formulas tab, the View tab, etc. You've also got access through here to all those specialized, or what we call contextual tabs, for things like charts and pivot tables and spark lines, etc. So you can access all of those features as well. But all I have to do here is find the feature that I want to add into the toolbar. So for instance, I really like using filters, so I might add the add and remove filters icon across. I also like using conditional formatting. Again, no keyboard shortcut directly for that. I might also want to add in things like I really like using my freeze panes. So a few things that you can obviously go in and add in here. But browse through, click and select the feature that you want to add in. You can either hit the little add button in the middle or double click it. That will do it as well. And then if you want to change the order that you have the buttons, because remember, top to bottom in the list is going to be left to right on the toolbar, I can select any of these icons now and I can move them up or down just using my little move up and move down arrows on the right side there. So go ahead, you can add in whatever buttons you want to have in there, and then once you're happy with that, you can click OK. Now that's showing us any additional buttons that we've added up into there now. Now, another way that we can do this, which is a little bit more direct and is a little bit quicker than having to go through that extra dialog box, is we can use the right mouse click. So if you find a button that you do tend to find you're going to a lot, you're using quite a bit, and even if it's part of a drop-down menu, that's fine too, because this still works. You can actually right mouse click on things. So if I go into, for instance, the data tab, and I might go over to what if analysis, and I want to add in my scenario manager or my goal seek, I can right mouse click on those with my mouse, and then you can see a little shortcut menu appears, and we can just choose add to quick access toolbar. Now, when you're getting these little drop downs, you'll tend to find these don't have a little icon next to them. And that means that if you are going to add them into things like your toolbar, then you're going to get a generic icon there instead. Now, what about if we wanted to go and remove some icons? Okay, same deal. We can either go to the drop down and choose more commands and remove it from that dialog box. Or again, if you want to do a little bit quicker, you can right mouse click on the icon that you want to remove. So in my case, the scenario manager icon. And I can see that the very first option it gives me is to remove from quick access toolbar. So I just choose that and it disappears straight out of that menu for me. So this is now going to give me really quick direct access to these features that I'm using in Excel on a regular basis, and I don't need to worry about which tab they're located in to go find them every single time. Now you can move these around, you can change the order of them. Obviously we had a look at those move up and move down arrows before. But what about if you want to be able to go and, add more in? What I normally suggest here is I would max out at around about a dozen icons up here. Obviously, the more you add, the more space you're going to take up in this title bar area. So generally speaking, you want to kind of minimize that. We don't want to make it overcomplicated and take away that productivity side from it. All right, so now I'm in Outlook Classic. You can see I do have my little tabs here. I've got my ribbon. And again, I do have a quick access toolbar here in Outlook as well. As I said, this is not yet available in the new Outlook, but Outlook Classic has the quick access toolbar. So I've got a couple of things that I've added up here just because I use them. I've got my send and receive button up there. I also have added my quick steps because I do use those quite a bit, where I can move them to a folder. I can forward them onto somebody else if I need to, that sort of stuff. I've also got my delete button up there, and then just for fun, I've put the reading pane button up here as well. I'm actually a user who doesn't work with the reading pane on. I know a lot of users do, but I have that quick access so I can quickly turn the reading pane off when I don't need it and it's appeared on a certain folder or whatever it might be. So same deal here. If I want to customize this, no problems. I can go to the drop down. You can see all your options here. But I said that there was an added bonus of using the quick access toolbar in Outlook, and it is that you get two of them. So we have the main toolbar here on the main Outlook window, but if I open an email or I create a new email, so I've got just an old email here, I'll just double click that to open it. And it's opened up on my other screen. There we go. So it's opened up here, and what you'll notice is that I now have a different version of that quick access toolbar. I don't have the same buttons. So this really allows you to customize the toolbar for email messages. So not just your overall entire mailbox, but your actual individual emails. So I resend emails. So I've got the resend button up here. All right. So how I would have added this one is you can go and locate the button. And so what you would do is you can either do this through your sent items or whatever it might be, but in your actions little drop down here, there is a resend this message, right? So I can right mouse click that and I've added it up into my toolbar. So now I don't have to go to the messages tab, go to the actions button and click it every single time. Right, again, just makes it much easier. I also really like to have the previous and the next item buttons here, because if I open an email, I can browse through to my next email in my inbox or the previous one just using the little arrows, right? So that allows me to kind of move around a little bit easier. So remember, in Outlook Classic, you have 2 versions of that toolbar and you can customize both of them. So I hope this has helped you. If you found this useful, please don't forget to hit that like button. Drop any questions below here and I'm happy to answer those. But obviously, if you want to see more of my content, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and I'll be posting content more as I go along. Otherwise, have a great day, everyone.